بسم الله. بسم الله. بسم الله. بسم الله. يطلع.
هلا معنى لا نعرف أي واحد من ماذا غلطوا.
بسم الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Välkomna. Our brother and sister are welcome to lecture today. Today we have our brother Naim Khan who will take the lecture. Inshallah, he is welcome.
إن الحمد لله نستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقل جاء الحق وزهق الباطل إن الباطل كان زهوقا وننزل من القرآن ما هو شفاء ورحمة للمؤمنين ولا يزيد الظالمين إلا خسارا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تسألون به وأرحم إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear elders and my dear brothers and sisters, I welcome all of you with the Islamic greeting. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace, mercy and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the Creator Almighty to all of you. The subject that is announced for this afternoon talk is about the significance of the religious festival contrary to the evils and the dangers of many of the rituals or the traditions or the cultures that has been rooted from the pagan's origin. Before I dwell into the subject, I would like to remind all of my brothers and sisters of Islam and humanity to remember our brothers and sisters who are performing the pilgrimage this year. We are in a sacred month now, the month of Dhul Hajj, and inshallah on the next Sunday we will be celebrating one of the most significant in Islam, the Eid al-Adha, and the pilgrims, they will perform their Hajj in this weekend, inshallah. So we make dua for them so that may Allah accept their humble efforts and accept their Hajj, and may Allah forgive our sins, and may Allah unite the Ummah as He is uniting the Ummah in the sacred month by the means of Hajj. and we would also wish them to safe return to their home. We begin by praising Allah, the Almighty, the Creator of the heaven and the earth. We ask Allah's refuge and we ask Allah to forgive us for our sins. We ask Him for guidance, and verily whomsoever Allah guides, we know that He is the truly guided one. And if Allah leaves someone astray, there is no one on the universe who can show him guidance. And I bear witness that there is no deity of worship except Allah. And I also bear witness that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last and final messenger sent to all of mankind. Dear brothers, we are living in an era of 21st century. It is very important for us to understand religion, and it is very important for us to understand the culture, the tradition. Because nowadays, festival and celebrations is coming very often. We know that the preparation is going on to celebrate tomorrow the Halloween, and followed through by within the months 1 or 2 there will be Christmas Eve, and then New Year's Eve, and then the continuation going through to the February Valentine's, and then in April there will be Easter, and in endless number of celebrations are coming. There is Father Day, there is Mother Day, there is Uncle Day, there is Brother Day. So we have endless number of celebrations. The things that influence me in order to speak on this vast subject about the pagan festivals and contrary to the religious festivals is that I was reading newspaper articles. They were giving some statistics about last year's figures, that Christmas is one of the most profitable business month in the Western world. And the second most profitable business occasion of celebration is the Halloween. And from the advertisement in the media, from the preparation, especially in the Western world, we can see now where these activities and so-called festivals lies. These are business festivals, now it becomes. So when we live in the era of 21st century, many of the festivals, namely as I named Christmas or New Year's Eve, or the Easter, or the Valentine's, including the Halloween, when we analyze, because the human beings have reached in a level of intellect, they can understand and find the roots. In order to understand, we must analyze the fact that where is the origin, what does this celebrations include, and what are the consequences from our experiences from the past. So now let us see what are the origins of most of these practices that we see practicing in the different part of the world. We begin with the Halloween, because that is the most part that is begin with. Tomorrow is the 31st of October, so we know the preparation is going on. Being a Muslim, it is obligatory for us to follow what is prescribed in the Quran and the Sunnah. Because Allah the Almighty says in the Surah Al-Imran chapter 3 verse 110 that kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. The meaning of the interpretation is that we, the Muslims, are the best of people. They are evolved for the welfare of mankind, so that we may invite mankind to practice the ma'ruf, and we may forbid the mankind from practicing the evils. When we say pagans, we have to understand the literal meaning of the word. Why we say paganism? Nowadays there is a new cult called Satanist, or the Satanism. Now in order to understand paganism, we have to go back to the root of the human's history. We know Prophet Noah, peace be upon him, Prophet Noah alayhi salam. And this was the nature of human being. They would like to make some object of worship which they found that has an extreme power. For example, the fire. It has tremendous power, the fire, It has tremendous power. The power to give heat, the power to burn and melt even the hardest steel. So the early primitive man, they have these ideas in their mind. This fire have a tremendous capacity to do miracles because it gives them life. Especially in the Celtic region or the northern part of the world where there is too much cold. This is the history of mankind. This part of the world is too much cold from the history. So it is expected that there should be heat in order to survive in the extreme weather. So people in their mind, they have different ideology to find different way to idolize their worships. Some, they worship the fire. Some people, they think if they live in the desert, because in the land of the desert, in the sandy land, there is hardly you find some water. So if they found a big mountain or a big tree, they immediately think of that this tree have a special power because this tree can survive in the extreme weather, in the extreme environment. So immediately they will try to idealize the tree and they will establish a practices based on the circumstances of that area, like at the big mountain. And we don't have to go back to many years. This is the present history. If we see all these things in the present world, still people are worshipping those things, understanding and thinking that this may be containing some special power. So, during the time of Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, that was the beginning of paganism. Paganism means the culture that has been built by human beings in order to create a false deity or a false object of worship besides the true creator. It may be a natural, intimate object, like it is also a common source of worship, the sun. Because the sun is the most powerful object in this planet. Because that is the source of energy. And this is one of the biggest inanimate object in this planet. And the moon. So, and the star, though these does not affect a lot, but you will find the human history, most of this culture is still today is very, they are worshipping the sun. Because thinking that this sun have got a special capacity. Especially people in the north, the Celtic people, the French, the Roman, the Greek, German, the United Kingdom, and in fact in the recent years, most of these practices have been originated and being propounded by United States of America. So now we have to go back to the root to understand. And this was the fighting against the paganism by all the prophets of God sent to mankind. Because Nuh alayhi salam was telling the people, do not worship the fire, because we produce fire. And the power of fire is very limited. Though you may think that these have an ordinary capacity, but this is not the things that we should worship. We should worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of the heaven and the earth. So follow through by that, we find in the history of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. We claim that he is the father of all the monotheistic religion, namely Judaism, Christianity and Islam. And we know he was breaking the idols in Mecca because people were worshipping the idols thinking that these idols have a special power. So now what happens to certain festivals, like when it comes to Halloween? The people have a deep root of understanding. So this is not my word. If you just go to Encyclopedia Britannica and children's encyclopedia and just write Google it and just write the origin of Halloween, you find that is the biggest root of paganism. In the Celtic area, in the Celtic region, especially, they have, before this dark winter, they were thinking that this is the last moment when they can see the sun. And now the dark winter is coming. For the Celtic people, and of those people in the primitive region, they had this November 1st was their first day of the year. 31st of October is the closing day, of the past year, and the 1st of November was the beginning of the new year. And they had a customs, and they were trying to believe that a person, mystical person, namely Samhain, they believe that he is the god, in inverted comma, of the dead spirits. So anyone and everyone in their lifetime, they make something wrong with another human being. So human being die, but in every year, in this 31st of October, they are believed that the dead soul is rising above the earth in order to take revenge from the one who has done some guilty to them when they were alive. And that's why we see today still why the people are wearing this mask and this, they are dressing up like to deceive someone. You cannot identify who are them, because that is their customs of belief, that if you put some mask on your faces, or if you do not identify yourself who are you, then this ghost or the spirit who are coming above the earth, they will never recognize you. You will be one of them, and now you will try to deceive the evil spirit. Another belief is that this Samhain was supposed to be the god of the devil, the Odin god of the Scandinavian, of the Celtic people, the god of the devil. So this god is a devil spirit. People believed in the early time that they are coming above the earth in order to take revenge. Now, what happened in 1834 AD, just a matter of 200 years, in America, for all the priests of the churches, they had a yearly celebrations. They were meeting together in order to say hello to each other. So they were shifting 30th of May, that was the day, to mix all the churches, head of the churches together to say hello to your fellow priests. Because they had a meeting in order to establish their, what you call the agenda of the next year. So the churches in America, they shifted 13th of May to the 31st of October, and they call this day say hello to the priest. And later on, within few years, these pagan people who were worshipping the 31st as their Samhain day, they mixed up with this day with the practice of hello, say hello, and it becomes Halloween. And this is the origin. Nowadays what we see the young children are dressed up like vampires, like the ghost, and taking the sharp things, maybe it's made up of plastics or some things, and they were trying to make a new tricks. So they introduced these terms trick or tricks in the recent times because they have to deceive the people. Now you see children are putting masks and they will knock the door asking for something from you to give, like begging. And there is a new cult called the satanic cult. And this cult also have a primitive origin of pagan nature. They sacrifice human beings, especially the children. So you will find in Canada, in United States of America, in England, most of the police, they made a red alert. That look, the horror killers, especially you will find in the recent day, maybe tomorrow, day after tomorrow, look at the news. These people, those who live and worship the Satan, they have something to worship, give sacrifice to the Satan, because they believe the power of the Satan will increase if they sacrifice the young children. So when the children goes and knock their door, they immediately capture them, and there are records from their own records, Washington Post, CNN and BBC, even you find in Sweden also. And you see these children, they have nothing to understand before what they are doing. So the police will tell the parents that look, do not let your children to go and knock some doors when they do not know who are inside the door. If he is your neighbor or if it is far from the neighbor. You should not go outside alone, you should be in a group. And there are precautions how to prevent from the horror killers. They say the horror killers. And the promotion is going like that. They will make a new movie every year just to promote these festivals. And the government, because of the businessmen also will promote these things in a manner so that everybody is enlightened to practice the things. Now Allah the Almighty, He prescribed it very clearly that إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌ مُبِينٌ وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَةُ الشَّيْطَانِ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌ مُبِينٌ. The shaitan is the clear enemy of the believers. Now what they are practicing, they say, look, we are making some fun with the students, with the children, with the kids. Now what kind of fun are they making? And what kind of danger consequence with these festivals? You see now, people have to make an excuse to find a holiday. So this becomes a holiday, the 31st of October. This is a public holiday in most of the part of the Western world, namely who claim themselves as a Christian. But this does not contain anything to do with Christianity. Neither these pagan customs have to do anything with any of the monotheistic religion. It destroys the image and the customs, the practices. And it creates the fear. If you see the movie, and if you read the synopsis or some of the clips from the movies, it creates a fear in the hearts of the mind of the people. But maybe at the end of the movie you see the vampires or the Halloween, it killed or it died, but the fear is still there inside the hearts and mind of the people. And this is against monotheism. I mean, we cannot celebrate some festivals that is origin from the pagans. Allah the Almighty says in Surah Al-Furqan, chapter 27, verse 72, that La yashhaduna zura, do not witness the falsehood. So these customs, you see, we cannot escape from these customs. They make it like this. Every school, they make it a customs in order to teach these things, how to make a vampire, how to make a mask in the class. So our children, they are being deceived by the customs. Most of these people, they don't understand what they are preaching to the children. And nobody is making up steps to raise a voice that we must make an action in this time in order to prevent our children to learn something that is deceiving. And that is linked with paganism, linked with worshipping the Satan. Because we know the spirit never comes, and they also know. But because of the business, paganism, fighting with monotheism, now the fight becomes with materialism. Because when it comes to economy and money, everybody gets scared. The government gets shaken because they are earning millions of revenues of these customers' practices. So now what, as a Muslims, we have to do? I mean, we have to stand on our positions clearly. That look, this is against the philosophy of monotheism. And the monotheism says we are not allowed to practice such a customs that has such a pagan origin. The Prophet, peace be upon him, says in the Sahih Bukhari that those who follow the pagans are one of them. And we says, look, we have the Quranic verse, we have the Hadith, and now we see the evil consequences of these practices. People are losing, they have no restrictions now in order to put their lives into a guidelines. They have no discipline. Whatever they like, they want to practice. So for the Muslims, please do not participate in any of these customs or the festivals. Make our home and our children and our elders to understand the root of these customs. And that make some wise alternatives. Make for them in the home if it is a public holiday, or Islamic organizations should have some things to do with the Muslims community so that the children are engaged with other children, playing with them, the way that they should practice the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not the practice of the Satan or the worshippers of Satan. And today or tomorrow we know that these evil consequences will never get out of their mind. Because if it is coming from the media, if it is coming from the movie, if it is coming from the cartoons, if it is coming from the schools, where you can escape. So we have to make fun. And you know that some of the Christian cults like Jehovah's Witnesses, the Seventh-day Adventists, they make it fun in the United States and almost all part of the world that we do not celebrate these customs. Because they understand the origin and the root of these pagan customs. And we should also, and these Jehovah's Witnesses, they are now going and telling the teachers and the administrations on the school that do not teach our children this. If you teach this, we will shift our children to another school. And this is fortunate or unfortunate, the Muslims' initiatives is very less. So we encourage our Muslim parents in order to understand this deep root of these so many customs of the pagans. Namely, the coming Christmas Eve. We know where does the Christmas originate. It has nothing to do with Christianity. It has nothing to do with the birthday of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. Because on the Celtic people especially, in the Rome and in Greek, they had a winter festivals, namely Saturnalia, the Bacchanalia. They believe that these are the gods, because in the middle of the winter, the sun, S-U-N, sun, is almost lost. So they believe the devil has eaten up the sun. So 21st of December, the sun is lost. 22nd, 23rd, 24th of December. And they had a feast, 12-day feast, from 21st of December to 6th of January. These 12 days were called the Bacchanalia in Greek and Saturnalia in Rome. They believe the Saturnalia, the god Saturn, is eating up the sun. And Bacchanalia is the festival of winter harvest. They were harvesting the crops in the winter and putting the bonfire in order to protect themselves from the evil of the cold. So you see still today that customs is there. And as I was telling, the people have a nature to worship the nature worshipping people. You find this fir tree, the tree that you see most of the time in the Christmas tree, the name, it has also an origin of the pagans. Because the pagans believe that this tree is ever-living tree. This can survive also in the cold, extreme winter. So this tree has got a special power. And they put these small amulets, mistletoes you will see, and they put this tree on the corner of the door or the window of their home. And so that they will bring some kind of special power in their house. Still today most of the Christendom they practice these customs. Does it related to Christianity? There is no origin of such. So what happens to these customs? This Christmas is coming from this Bacchanalia and Saturnalia, the people of the Rome, the people of the Greek. In 427 AD, when Christianity became the religion of the state of Rome, it becomes a state religion, then the priests of the churches, they see through that these evil customs is practicing by the vast majority of the people in the Rome. So the church always have a tendency that if you cannot prevent someone, you try to be with them. So mixing up with monotheism, with paganism. If you cannot prevent them, you adopt them. So the church adopted that feast, and the pagans people, they were believing that this 25th of December, in the customs, even today, in some part of Iran, Persia, they believe the god Mitra, the Mitra god. That is a very mysterious character. This Mitra god, they believe that he is the son of God, in inverted comma. He was supposedly born on the 25th of December, and he was supposedly being killed or for the sins of the mankind. This is the pagan custom. And he was born on the 25th of December. And just go to Encyclopedia Britannica, you see the origin of Christmas. So what happens, the church, they see these evil practices. Still today in Rome, you see this movie of Gladiator. The emperors putting their fingers on the downs, kill the customs, kill the persons who are the defeater. So they had these customs before. They put up all the peoples together in order to fight and let them see who is survivor. And the survivor should kill the one who is the loser. And these customs was not able to be stopped by the early priests of the churches. So they compromised with the pagan customs. And later on in 428 AD, it becomes a customs of the Christian churches. They announced to celebrate 25th of December to be the birthday of Isa alayhi salam. It has got no connection with the Bible. It has got no connection with any historical record with the birthday of Isa alayhi salam, Jesus Christ. And now what happened, this paganism is taking up the monotheism. You have a pagan group, you have a monotheistic name. Christmas, Christianity, Christ. But it has got nothing to do. Now today, what happens, most of these Christmas or religious customs have been taken up by the materialism. You will only find this tree, the people are selling the tree, the mistletoe, and they had another picture in the Celtic region, especially in Germany. They had Odin gods, the god of the devil, the Satan. You see this Santa Claus. What is the origin of Santa Claus? Santa is the Satan. But they put a picture like a black hair and a white beard man, having a big face. He is the devil, especially in this winter, believing in the early primitive people that this god, this devil is coming with the sled rising and the flying by the what you call the snakes. The snakes are flying a sleigh, and this devil is sitting on the sleigh, and he loves children. So he was taking up the children. So early people, they were afraid children to not go out in this 25th or in winter, because the Satan will take you, the Santa will take you out and put you on the bag, and he will go to spaces. So do not go out in the winter. Now in the European territory, in America, you cannot affect the child. So now the system changes. You see, now the children are being deceived that, look, Santa will bring chocolates and candy for you. And the poor parents, they were doing the job, putting the candies on the door, and they were giving credit to this Satan. And you see, in Northern last year I saw, even they make pictures and the movies of Santa. The Santa, that picture of Satan, becomes the hero of origin. It has got nothing to do with Isa alayhi salam, with Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. Where comes this Satan? Where comes this Santa? Where comes this Odin god? Where comes this Bacchanalia and Saturnalia, the practices? But now nobody realizes. Most of the American and the European, they never try to find out the origins, because they say, look, we need holidays. Now you see what happens in Christmas. People were drinking alcohol, and they were making some things that is illicit, and they were finding some excuse in order to meet their parents once in a year, or maybe a family gathering. So it becomes a soft corner in their heart that we need some kind of holidays in order to meet the parents of the families. Now what happens, in 1834, surprisingly, the Church of England, they banned, from 1834 to 1859, they banned to practice Christmas in the United Kingdom, the Church of England. And the pagan people and these nature-worshipping people who were practicing these things for a long time, Saturnalia, Bacchanalia, and others, they say, look, how to shift these things into a later practice. So they shift the Christmas to New Year's Eve. So at least they can practice something. And there is also a history of the New Year's Eve. What is the origin of this New Year's Eve? They believe there is a god called Jackas. Jackas in the Greek and Rome, they were believing that he is a master hypocrite god with two faces. He showed one faces to the people, and he had another faces behind. So you see, 31st of December in one face, and 1st of January another face. The changing of the face. And this is their customs. And alhamdulillah, the Muslim scholars, they have done a great research on this, finding the roots of these origins of many of these customs. And when we see that this customs is taking over all the way, the Muslims, non-Muslims, the Christians, the Jews and the Buddhists, the children, the parents, the youngs and the olds, everybody get into the system, because they see through the business is there, because it is all about money. You want to celebrate Christmas? Okay, buy this gift, have this, have that. And if you want to celebrate New Year's Eve, you know what is going on. Thousands of millions of dollars and kronas and currencies have been spoiled in order to make fireworks. Well, you have to make some fireworks. People are losing their eyes, somebody is losing their ears, air pollutions, water pollutions, sound pollutions, terrifying people. Police are everywhere, seeing of what is going on. There are people, the evil consequences, people, the highway accidents are there, and everything is coming into danger and danger. You see, the illicit activity is increasing. Young boys and men and women, and drinking of alcohol in the streets and the home. I mean, they are going in an endless numbers of troubles. And these customs we cannot escape, because whether we live in the West or we live in the East, in Asia or Middle East or in Europe or America, the information is there. Because we open the television, we see in the news the Santa Claus is there, the Satan is there. We see in the movie channel, we see a movie is there about Christmas, about New Year's Eve. We turn the channel to other channels, we see the kids, the cartoons, they are showing the same thing. So nobody is escaping, and people are doing what's wrong being with that too, in order to practice this custom. Now, as I say, that these customs and the practices and the traditions have the pagan roots. I would propose to Christians, I said, look, why don't we go back to the Bible? It's mentioned in the Bible, in the first Gospel, the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 19, verse 5. God Almighty is supposedly telling to Christians that, look, if you follow the customs and the traditions created by man, you are deviating from the reality and you are doing a sin. Being a Muslim, we are not allowed to follow the customs of the pagans. And there is nothing good on practicing these customs. So we must have to make very strong positions. Neither the New Year's Eve. And we know that what happens in Valentine's. You know how the people are promoting these kind of celebrations. We see movies before 1 week. Before 1 week, the government is giving free condoms to young men and women so that they may indulge in illicit activities. And in America, in China, they are giving, if you want, this is free for you. This is free. And now what is going on? When we analyze the root of Valentine's, it has also a root from the Greek and the Rome. In the Rome, they had a practice, because you see now winter is passing, so immediately is in between winter and spring. So their customs was believed, because they were nature worshipping people. When they found in the winter, cold winter, they were not able to take anything, a bath, or they were not able to remove their clothes or anything.